Cheech here with Fly Fish Food, and Paul downstairs has helped me jog my memory on learning how to tie this awesome new wing style. Because of that, this is his yellow Sally, the Pablo's yellow Sally.
Dude, that's a big brown.
This is a yellow Sally pattern. It both floats high and kind of has its butt down in the water, you'll see. But Paul and I were talking down in the shop the other day, and he was asking about a certain technique that had the deer hair wings splay out like that. That's the top view of this fly. Okay, so I started playing with that quite a bit, and I really kind of went down a rabbit hole and ended up with this Sally pattern. So check it out. I've fished a lot of stuff similar to this, so we're gonna give it a quick tie. I'm going to use nano silk for this one because I am going to be using deer hair. I'm not going to switch up my thread just because, I want to keep everything nice and slim on this one. So we'll just get started. Start our thread about right here. And I am going to go all the way back down and back up because I want to dress this. As you know, nano silk is very, very, very thin. This is actually the 30 denier, the 18-aught. You could use thicker stuff if you wanted, but this is what I pulled off the spool holder today. This is going to be a piece of flex floss from Fulling Mill, I think in their pale yellow color. And this is very fluorescent stuff. It's really cool. So I'm going to tie that in right there. I'm stretching it as I wrap back. And I'm just going to wrap down this hook, and I'm really going to use some thread wraps to make that yellow show up. A lot of times with nano silk or GSP in general, it's hard to get the colors to really show up. So there we have a nice yellow tinge to the fly. Everybody knows that yellow Sallies have a little egg sac, or not all of them, but it's a very common thing on the females. And it's red. So we're just going to take a little Sharpie and we made a little red band. If you want to do that out of tinsel, go right ahead. It's not going to make a dang bit of difference, except for maybe the color will be different. So I'm just going to take this now and I'm going to wrap this fairly tight when I first start. But as you can see, I'm letting it build up a little bit thicker, and it kind of gives the appearance of kind of a two-tone translucent body, kind of like we did in the Ghost Midge. Let's get up here. We're going to tie this off, and this is where all the fun begins. This is the easy part. All right. There you have it. So you can see we've got that cool translucent body. The next step, we're going to use a piece of 2mm hairline high float foam. This is kind of a new foam from them this year. Very similar to, say, an Evizote or something similar. It's kind of that squishy, rubbery foam. I've really been liking it. I've cut a piece about that thick. I don't know how that relates to hook gappage, but that's what we're rolling with. I'm going to cut the back of this piece of foam to a point like this, and then I'm going to very, very, very gently hit it with a Bic lighter in a nice, earthy tone that you might find in, a nice Midwestern home on the walls, right, Brig? What do they call this color?
Dead salmon.
Dead salmon. Gosh, Brigham, you're better at this job than you would be at a paint naming job. All right, so I'm just going to singe this real quick.
That's the name of a paint color.
Like I said, Brigham, just because it is doesn't mean it's good. All right, so I've singed that a little bit and pinched it down with my fingers, and as you can see, it rounds it out a little bit. So all that trouble just for that. And we're going to tie that in about right here. Hold on.
Dude, that's pretty dang close, dude. Look at that. Hold on. Hold up your lighter.
Wait, where does it say dead salmon?
Dead
salmon.
Okay, hold up.
This. Oh my goodness.
Yes! Dude.
No, dude, it's not even close.
Yes,
Dead salmon's too purple. Look.
But that's close.
It's close. I'll give it to you. Sorry about that, people.
You weren't expecting that.
I wasn't. And now I'm concerned and surprised at the same time. All right, so we're going to just tie this in right here. Sorry about the color wars. Maybe you can add your comment as to who you think is absolutely crazy and whether or not it's Brigham or me. All right, so we have this all tied in here, okay? This is the part that I forgot last time I tied it, but we're going to tie in a little wing. Common thing that I see on yellow sallies is that wings are like bright yellow, just like this. They actually have little dun-colored wings, or like sandy blondish wings. Now this is some of the Fulling Mill Ultra Dry yarn, and we're just going to tie that in right here in this little gap. Okay, and I'm going to fold this over on top of itself, but we're going to have to pull some ninja tricks here to get this to do it. So I'm going to put a bodkin in here, fold that over, and keep that pinch there with my fingers as I do a pinch wrap on either side of, if I can get it. That's why I said it's hard. Took me 3 times. So don't throw anything against the wall if it takes a second. All right, so there we have it, little micro tie-in point for that stuff, the GSP, and I just pulled that out because I was explaining. Okay, I will do it again without over-explaining, and you can see that it's really not that hard. Boom. It's a little bit bigger on the tie-in point, but it's fine. See how it kind of rolled over on that one side? I can grab that wing and reposition it right in the center of the foam. So there we have it. Just like this, I'm going to take that and I'm going to trim it about right there. So we have a little wing that's going to pop up as we're fishing this, and I'll even show you a cool way to kind of shape that once we're done with the fly. All right. This is where this turns into, you know, maybe a skill level 3 fly to a skill level 4 or 5 fly. Because this next part isn't the easiest. It's super doable. It's kind of like a compare-done hair, but done reverse. All right, I'm going to get this wing fixed once and for all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little strand of dubbing, and I'm going to mash that down. You can see how this keeps sliding around on me. I don't want that. I'm going to put a ball of dubbing right here and mash that up against that junction. And there are a few reasons why we do that. And mostly is because right now we're going to tie in some deer hair going this way. And we're going to fold the foam through the deer hair. And if the deer hair is too far back, it just pushes the deer hair straight forward instead of out to the sides. So this little buffer of dubbing in between whatever you're pulling through the deer hair is absolutely critical to get your fly to look right. That might sound like I'm just making it up, and I might be, but we're going to do our best to show you exactly what we're talking about now. All right, so I'm taking some compare-done hair, really, really fine coastal deer, looks about like that. That's maybe a little bit too much. You don't really need a lot. There's a lot of buoyant properties to this fly, and you're just using the deer hair to kind of show up as little legs on each side of it. That's even too much. So as I, wiggle it back and forth with my fingers, I'm left with about that much hair. All right. You still do need to clean the fluff out, because even through this tiny bit of hair, sometimes you can get quite a bit of fluff. All right. Into the stacker it goes, or line the tips. And I'm going to pull it out of the stacker facing this direction, because that's how I'm going to tie it in. So I'll grab all those fibers, and we're going to tie it in right here, and I'm going to make this about, I don't know, back to the bend of the hook or a little bit further with my hair, and I'm going to tie it in right here in front of that dubbing, okay? Just like this. With your nano silk, if you pull too tight right now, it will cut all this hair off and you get to start again. So keep that in mind. All right, so I'm just going to come in here, trim off this hair. It's not under much tension, so I don't really want to pull it forward and trim it off, but find whatever way you like to trim off the hair. All right, those I can just yank out of there. If you ever have like a few just stragglers of butts, you can just grab it and pull it out with your fingers. All right, so there we have just hair right in front of that foam. Okay, so I'm going to pull all that hair up and really bind down these butts that I tied in. And right here we're going to put another small ball of dubbing. Mostly just to clean this up. Alright, so I'm going to mash this dubbing ball into the previous one. Alright, so we're looking kind of like that. You can see there's a little bit of band down there. That's not a problem. So now we're going to grab the hair, kind of position it right on top of the hook, and we will kind of make a part right down the middle. All hands right now, so you'll see how we look. So I just kind of pulled them from one side to the other, evened them out, and then when I pull this foam over, they'll just splay out nice and natural like that. So try to get your thread without catching any deer hair and tie it down right here. All right. So what I'm going to do now is just fold all this hair back, and there's one more step. I'm going to come back just a few steps on this thread. So you can see how I'm making kind of a band of thread. And now I'm going to take this and fold it back on top of itself again, and we're going to make a pronounced little yellow Sally head. You can see how we did that. All right, so those pull out to the sides. That looks cool. We're going to stretch this foam now and trim it, and you can see how nice and neat that turns up. All right, so I'm just going to throw a quick whip finish in this. I'm going to have to pull these out of the way one more time and to get that under the head. Just a few. Imagine me putting whatever you like to put on there for head cement. All right, so a couple final steps to really pretty it up. Obviously, it's done right now. It's fishable right now. But you can take this wing and kind of round it off like a Sally wing, you know, make it kind of a little bulb that comes out the back of it by just kind of trimming the top and the bottom. So you can see it kind of takes more of a shape of a wing. And yes, put in the comments that that's not going to stay that way all day if you fish in the wind. All right, I'll take your word for it. And then we're just going to put on a few little eyeballs by just painting the side of that head black with a marker. There you have it. Big thanks to Pablo, aka Paul Brockbank, and for telling me about that technique. And now he has his own fly, the Pablo's Sally.